Welcome back to Cityline. Well, when you think of music in Tacoma and Pierce County, everybody thinks about Ted Brown music. It's the place we go for our instruments. It's the place we go for our sheet music. And it's also the place we go to find out about amazing programs. And that's what this next 13 minutes is about. Please join me in welcoming Stephanie Howe. You are the Executive Director of Ted Brown Music Outreach. Welcome, my dear.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
You brought with you this beautiful woman that has this Hollywood backdrop. Helene, you are a musician, you are a vocalist also, and you were a part of the Live It Out Loud program. Welcome, Autumn.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so happy to be here.
Great to have you here, my dear. And last but certainly not least, Mr. Skye Warden, you are the director of the Live It Out Loud program. Welcome to Cityline, Skye.
Thank you for having us on.
It's great to have all three of you here. So, Stephanie, for people who are new to Tacoma, who maybe don't know about Ted Brown music, especially if they've moved here during the pandemic and haven't had a chance to actually drive around and check things out, what is the mission of Ted Brown Music and their outreach programs?
Well, for the outreach, we're trying to help all children participate in music, whether that be in a rock band like our Live It Out Loud program, or whether that be in middle school, high school, junior high, elementary school bands with trumpet, trombones, and all the standard band equipments.
You know, you say that so easily, but that is a huge undertaking. Unbelievable. And you make it seem so effortless. Skye, same question for you. What is the mission of the Live It Out Loud program?
The Live It Out Loud program specifically focuses on forming bands like traditional rock bands and contemporary bands of various like genres and styles and stuff like that, and also just helping the kids kind of get a real clear picture of what that professional musicianship picture kind of looks like, and what that life could be, and all the different kinds of career opportunities in that world and stuff like that too. So it's a pretty immersive kind of situation for the kids.
You know, I have to tell you, I've known about the Live It Out Loud program for quite a while, and I've often wished that it was around when I was young enough to be a part of it. Because growing up in the 1980s, who didn't want to be in a rock band? Because we lived that culture, but it's not what you think it is. And I'm so grateful that there are people like you, Skye, and also Autumn and Stephanie, that help us understand the full meal deal of saying yes to being in a band, because it's not as glamorous as your backdrop looks, is it?
No, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of preparation. It's a lot of big pills to swallow as far as, you got to load in equipment. Well, I didn't realize that. Oh, man. And so helping these kids like kind of get the full impact of what it's really like to be a musician, and also fall in love with it, like really enjoy all of the processes and all the steps of the journey that goes along with it. I think it's fun.
And I think you bring up some very valid points, like loading in our own equipment. And of course, in non-COVID times, getting in my own car and driving 300 miles for a gig, You've got to be kidding. Autumn, I mentioned at the opening that you are a vocalist. You also play a little bit of instruments. Which ones do you play?
I do. I play a little bit of a guitar. I've been learning a lot more piano, and I actually just recently, like about 4 days ago, got a bass, which is a bass guitar, which is very, very cool. I'm currently trying to learn it right now. I'm having a lot of fun.
That is amazing to me. So, Autumn, why is music important to you?
Music has kind of always been like a coping skill for me with mental health, and it's always just been something that I've always loved. Songwriting for me especially has been something to also help me cope with different things in life. Music is a really good way of kind of expressing that, and it also can help other people too, which is definitely incredible. I just love it.
And so you just let another one of your talents out of the bag here, that you're also a songwriter, which to me is the genesis of all instruments and music. If you can write songs, you really have the roots of success in that business. Speaking of success, and this is a question, Stephanie, for you and for Skye. And Skye, why don't you go ahead first? What successes do you have in your mind when you think about some of these programs?
Speaking for the Live It Out Loud program, I think being able to work with so many parts of the local music community, all the different venues and other musicians who participate as mentors. So we get a lot of the local music community involved in the program. A lot of guys that have been in the scene for 30 years are coming in and helping, kids figure all this stuff out for the first time, which is really cool. And it's really, I think, successful part of the program, probably the most successful part of the program, is how integrated in the music community the program is overall. Some recent financial successes, we've been getting a lot of really great grants from some really great places. Specifically, recently we had Music Has Value selected us as one of the programs to supply funding to, and it's been great to get that kind of ability to make the program as best as possible with equipment and things like that through those grants. So
you touched on something that I want to expand upon, and that is that having mentors for the participants in this program, because the ability to ask somebody who has been there and done it, there is a unmeasurable value to that, to say, what did you learn and what would you not do again if you were my age? And that in itself, Skye, is a huge success to get people who into the program who want to talk about their journey with music and with being in a band. So good on you for that. Stephanie, when you think about successes in terms of outreach, what comes to mind?
Well, we're really proud of recently we were given some funding to help create a program. So we have 2,700 plus recorders that we gave to fourth graders in the Tacoma School District, and trying to get that coordinated and out to all the schools so the parents could pick them up. That was a challenge, but we got that done just last week. So we're very proud of that too.
Oh, that is incredibly impressive. And for all the parents who are going, oh, a recorder, let me tell you, it is the gateway to beautiful music. So just be patient and put on your headphones.
Well, and each one of them came with a little sheet of music with 3 notes and 4 songs, so they can at least play 4 songs right away.
I love that. And maybe teach their parents as well. How's that?
Sure.
Ted Brown is known for its instrument scholarship program. For people who are not aware of what a gift this is, Stephanie, would you explain it to us?
It's really quite special. People who have played their instruments and love them and are no longer using that particular instrument, they might have moved on to a different one, or they might have more that they're using and they're just not needing of some of their instruments that are sitting at home. They will turn them into the Ted Brown Music Outreach. We will fix them up, send them through our repair shop, and then we will give them to students who can't afford to purchase or rent instruments. So most of these are usually band and orchestral instruments, but we also do guitars, amps, drum sets, keyboards, and right now I've got quite a number of mandolins.
I love that. Boy, that is truly the gift that keeps on giving. Skye, this is the 10th anniversary, can you believe it, of the Live It Out Loud Summer Rock School program. Just that alone makes me want to be a part of it. Tell us about this.
Well, it's interesting for me. This is my second year as a director, but I've been a mentor in the program for nearly the entire 10 years. Um, so it's really cool. And kind of talking back on the mentorship program, we now have students that were in the first, few years that are still in the music community and almost ready to be mentors themselves and just have that full sort of circle complete. But also, some of the relationships you form with these kids as mentors last throughout the years. And I've had beers with some of the students that started in the program, 8-9 years ago, and still out there making music, and they still ask me for advice, and I still offer help when I can. And that's true with all mentors in the program. So 10 years is a lot of relationships formed. And I think that's probably the biggest achievement of that length of time, is all the interconnectedness that keeps going because of the length.
I think there's a best-selling book in there someplace, Skye. You really do. Autumn, tell us about your experience in the program.
Live It Out Loud is a very, very beneficial experience. I started it about 2 years ago when I was 12, and it's just always been such a phenomenal experience, and I've always had so much fun, and I learned so much. Especially one of the highlights was the recording studio that you could go to and record, and it's just such a surreal experience, and it's so incredible. And all the clinics too, you always learn so much. And it's like a variety of different things in the music industry that you can learn about. And it's just, I just love it. I can't wait to go back next year. I'm very excited.
Autumn, I'm sitting here in shock because you mentioned 2 years ago when you were 12. That means that you're 14, if my math is correct.
I turn 14 next month. I'm currently 13.
Autumn, you've heard this before, because I can tell by Skye and Stephanie's face. They know what I'm going to say. You have such an old soul. I would have put you 18, 19, not just about ready to turn 14. So obviously, you are doing some really great work in terms of the depth and development that this music is giving you.
Yeah, I'm so flattered that you said that. Thank you.
Well, trust me, when you're 50, you won't be flattered, but you can be flattered now that you're almost 14. Stephanie, what does 2021 look like? We're still sheltering in place. We're still not quite back into school full time. So how are we doing?
We are going towards a hybrid, I believe. We tried to do a lot of things online this last year. During the summer, we were able to meet in groups of 4 and 5. So some of the Live It Out Loud bands were able to meet in person, yet distanced. So that was kind of interesting. During the summer, we also had exploration camps, instrument exploration camps for kids to try out. And normally we let them try out, like if they're going to a brass camp, they get to try out trumpet, trombone, and things like that. This year we had to come up with one instrument, and luckily manufacturers have made plastic instruments, so they're a little bit more affordable, and we were able to give each student an instrument that they could then take home. It's not exactly something that they'd want to play in a school band, but it gives them that initial trial period to see if they like it. And that was hard, trying to find instruments to do that. And then trying to get people that are in person and people that are online to line up together and be able to sing in sync was, because you don't really notice it so much when you're watching Zoom, or but you get it when you're talking, or when you're trying to participate together, do the same thing together. It sometimes just, there's this delay, and it sometimes ends up as like a reverb or an echo.
I've had on my show most recently Erin Gwinnett, and she is the director of the Tacoma Refugee Choir. And she talks about when the choir gets together on Zoom, they can't hear each other sing.
No.
And they just have accepted that because the getting together is more than just the singing. Speaking of that, Skye, you had mentioned before we got on the air here that you have a new partnership with Alma Mater. Tell us about that.
We're talking about doing some of the shows and possibly like the CD release at the end of the year, and kind of going back to what Stephanie said, like we're planning for the best and the worst at the same time. So we're kind of dual planning the Live It Out Loud program this year. We did it almost entirely online last year, which was a huge shift from what we normally do, because we normally have shows at all the different venues and get-togethers and big group activities and stuff like that, like with the clinics and stuff. So all of that was online. All of the shows were pre-recorded by the bands during rehearsals because we couldn't have shows at all. We still managed to have those same levels of performances and stuff like that. What we did is we had a live show filmed at Jazz Bones by a professional film crew and sound crew, so that it was like a full production thing, and still had that sort of glitz and glamour of a live event, but done safely. So we're potentially going to be doing the same thing this year. If things situation changes by then, we'll have shows at Alma Mater and McMinimans as we have in the past. So Nathan's been really cool to work with. Him and I have been talking a couple times on the various ways that Alma Mater can get involved, and we're still kind of still exploring what those possibilities are, because they have a lot of different facilities that they have available at that place. So
well, Alma Mater continues to reinvent themselves in the sense of listening to what Tacoma wants. They have the most beautiful outdoor space for eating and also just for visual arts. So I'm going to cross my fingers that the virus lets us get together when it's time. Stephanie, last question for you. How can our viewers help?
Well, they can go to tbmoutreach.org and donate, or if they need an instrument, they can also apply for an instrument. The Ted Brown Music locations are still open, and if they've got instruments that they're no longer using, they are more than welcome to bring them in. We give you a tax write-off, sort of, if they're still available, depending on the year. But so the other thing is, it feels great when you give an instrument to a student that just is enthralled with the instrument and they keep playing and they go on forever. Some of our instrument scholarship kids have gone on to college and further. So I'm very proud of them. So they can donate that way. They can also give us a call if they wish to get involved with the Live It Out Loud program. They can call me here at the store and we can set you up with Skye, and you can volunteer for whatever live things happen.
I love that. Huge thank you to all three of you for taking time out of your day to be here. And to quote Shakespeare, if music be the food of life, then play on. And I can't wait to have you back on the show again. Thank you so much, all three of you.
Thank you for having us.
Well, that wraps up another great segment of Cityline. It is always a pleasure and a privilege to be zooming into your home. We've given you some really phenomenal things to virtually take advantage of in this past hour. Above all, continue to protect yourself, continue to wear your mask, to keep your gatherings small, to socially distance, and to wash your hands. But above all, please reach out to those you love. And when you do, we'll be waiting for you right here at Cityline. Take care.
Tacoma, that's my home. Oh, you're from from Chicago, but Tacoma's where you'll stay, yeah. Tacoma, that's my home.